Today I have my face here, so my name's Hannah Gunderson. I'll be leading the webinar, and like I said, my co-host Amanda, I do not have her picture here, and I really should have, but she's joining me today, and she's going to be in the chat. Just so you can hear from her, she's going to give you guys a quick overview about who LegFi is and what we do, and then we'll go on and move on to the agenda for today. So I'm going to pass it over to you, Amanda.
Thanks, Hannah. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda, and I wanted to let you know that who OmegaFi is and how we support LegFi. So, OmegaFi hosts and supports LegFi. For more than 30 years, OmegaFi has provided technology solutions to help customers manage their finances, streamline their operations, recruit new members, and communicate with their members. We are based out of Columbus, Georgia, and we have securely processed more than 1.1 million per day for our clients and have securely processed more than 4 billion since 1992. We are deeply committed to serving, promoting, and advancing the fraternity and sorority experience. We're passionate about what we do, and it's this passion that has encouraged our clients to trust us to do the heavy lifting so they can focus on their mission and having fun. So that's who OmegaFi is, and I will pass it back over to Hannah.
Thank you, Amanda. Okay, advancing through, we have our agenda. So you can see we're going to start with adding and editing LegFi admin permissions, reviewing subscription information. Oh, geez, I'm tongue-tied. Updating treasury cards, tips, and Q&A, and then I have a who to go to slide at the end. The good news about this is no matter what kind of organization you're in, so if it's a fraternity, sorority, professional group, alumni chapter, whatever, all of these things will still apply to you. As you have different leadership position and turnover, you can update your account. So all of this should apply to y'all. And then we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to pause my screen real quick and switch it over to LegFi so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, you should be looking at the LegFi home screen here. So the first thing, like I said, we're going to go over is updating admin permissions. There's actually 3 different ways I'm going to show you. They all do the same thing, but it just depends which section you're comfortable working out of or maybe how you want to go about it. So what you're going to want to do is go to this member section. This is the first way you can do it. And let's say you're just updating one member. So maybe you're just passing your officer position on to somebody else, and you're like, I need to just update Ferguson right here, Ferguson Bishop, which is the cat from New Girl. I'm pretty sure you're a New Girl fan. I watched it a while ago, but I'm not super familiar, but I think that's the cat. So anyways, you're going to click this 3-dot here, and it's going to say permissions, and then you'll be able to do their admin status. So right now they are an admin, but if you wanted to, let's say, remove it, you would just unclick this. It's going to successfully update it. And then you can see these are custom permissions. So let's say you want to remove everything or maybe a few things. You can go through and just uncheck these boxes and it'll update in live time. You can see it's giving us the success message right here. But let's say he had no permissions to start with. If you just click this admin status, it's going to go ahead and give him permissions to all of these fields. So he's going to be able to see every page and edit on every page like you probably can for your chapter. Same thing goes for, let's say if you had someone who had never had permissions before. Right here we have just a regular user. Again, just click that 3 dots. You'll click permissions. You'll see nothing's checked here. We can either give them admin status where they'll have everything, or based on their position, maybe they just need to be able to keep up with membership records. Maybe they're like the VP of membership. You could have them have read and edit permissions. So that way that membership tab, they can go through and edit it, but they're not necessarily going to be in the financial accounts where they're going to be dealing with money for the chapter. So that's just different ways you can look at it. Let's say you have a list, like your whole officer board, your executive council, whatever you guys refer to it as, changes over, and you want to give admin status to people kind of all at the same time instead of doing one by one. What you can do is just start checking the boxes next to their name. And then again, we'll click actions up here, edit permissions, and you'll see they're all going to be checked on the right side, and then you'll click admin status. It'll give it to all of them. You can unclick it and then do custom. If they're all going to have the same custom permissions, you can do it that way and just go through. And again, it does it in live time, so you don't have to scroll down and click submit or save. It's just going to automatically save it. So whenever you're done, you can go ahead and just click the X. I'm going to undo these and go back. No, so that's the first two ways. The third way I'm going to show you is actually under this gear icon. If you go to permissions here, you can see a list of everybody, and you see they have these like little edit things next to their name. That's because they do not either have full admin permission or maybe they aren't an admin at all. So in this case, you can see Paul has nothing. So we can just click this. It's going to give them or access to all modules. Or if we want to do again those custom ones, we would unclick it, click edit, and then we can just give it based on what their position would require them to be able to do. So that's where you'll be able to do that. And again, if you wanted to quickly maybe get rid of admin, you could go through and just uncheck these little, I don't know if it's an unchecked, unslide these sliders and update it there. So those will be the ways you update those permissions to LegFi. You'll want to make sure you're familiar with this and able to do it once you have your elections, just so the new officer, once they're elected or maybe appointed, voted on, however you guys go about it, they're able to go in and start making updates and working in their new role. So you'll want to make sure that's all done. Now, again, we're under, just as a reminder, this gear icon. The next thing I'm going to show you is reviewing those subscription information. So if you go to My Organization, it's just going to show you information about your chapter. But if we click one over to billing, it's between organization and permissions, you'll see your subscription right here. So this is something, if you're not already familiar with it, you probably are because you've been paying for LegFi monthly. You're just going to make sure you remember this. So that way, when you're training the new person who's going to be taking over after you, this is something they can consider. So if you guys do monthly billing, semester billing, however that may be, you'll just want to make sure this fee is going to be built into the budget. So if you're paying $3 per user per month, maybe you add that to their dues, or maybe if you're paying, like month by month, it's just like a set fee. You'll just want to make sure your chapter in some way is collecting money to cover that fee for you guys. I know, for example, a lot of our alumni chapters don't necessarily um, maybe bill their members month to month because it's not like an undergraduate chapter where you guys have I don't know, like different formals and events happening, and maybe you kind of charge per event, but you'll just want to make sure that you have built into your budget this subscription fee. The thing I'm also going to show you that kind of goes along with it is this payment method right under it. Here you can select your payment type, and this is how you're going to be paying for the subscription. So just make sure either I would probably set it before you transition the account if it's not already set, or if you don't want to do it and have the new person do it, just give them a heads up to check this. You're going to want to make sure you choose which account you want to be as your default payment. So that way, as that subscription is getting paid, it's going to be connected to that account. So that's where you'll update it. You can just go here. These are all different treasury accounts we have in our test accounts. Maybe it's just out of the chapter operating. And then you can see the information there, and then you just click make default payment method, and you'll get a green message down here letting you know that that was successfully saved. So now when other people log into their account that are admin, have this access, when they go back to this billing section, they'll see that selected here. If the new officer wants to update it, they can go ahead and update it here, or they can leave it as is because everything's set and good to go. Moving now down to treasury cards. And I know this is going a little quick, so again, if you guys have questions, just shoot them in the chat and we'll go over them at the end. But moving on to these treasury accounts and treasury cards, I'm going to go to financial accounts. And here you can see all the different treasury accounts we have, and then that all of these have cards linked to it. So what I'm going to want y'all to probably do before you transition officers is go through and make sure that all of these accounts and attached cards are still necessary. So maybe if you had, the previous bid day chair had a card that they could go buy stuff for bid day. If they're going to be transitioning, we probably want to close their card. Same with your own card. Once you have maybe that new president or new treasurer, whoever it may be, you no longer need your card and they'll need one. You'll just go to the bill pay fund that it's attached to, and you'll click treasury cards, and you'll see a list of people who have cards on this account. Now this one right here isn't active, so this person was invited, but they never filled out their card holder data. That's because this is a test account, so this isn't a real person who went in and did it. But let's say this is, again, like your previous bid day chair. They will no longer need the card, or maybe they never registered it and used it. You'll just click these three dots, and scroll down, and you can click close because it was never used. We can click OK. Let's say, this is your card here. Again, you can go ahead and close your own card, but if you only have one for your chapter and this is something y'all rely on, I probably wouldn't close yours until the new officer is set up and has added their card. So you can go ahead, if you've had elections, and add their card, or you can maybe have them do it and walk through just so they get familiar with it. But all you're going to do is, again, if we're under financial accounts, go to the treasury account that you want the card attached to, and then you'll click the three dots, treasury cards, and you just click add card holder. So here you'll see the account that it's attached to, the member we're going to choose. Right now I'm logged in as Jess, so if I was adding it for myself, let's say you're helping the new treasurer and I'm the new treasurer, I can click that. It's going to say choose card type. I'm going to choose a virtual card so I have access to it right away, and I'm happy with that spending limit. So you'll just click I agree, click next, and then we're going to click submit. So now you'll see this card holder has been added. When we click done, again, it's going to show that pending card holder data. So that means the card's been added, but we're not able to use it yet. We have to verify that we're an actual person who's going to be using this card. So if you're logged in under your account, like I said, I'm logged in as Jess right now. I see this is still pending. I can click the three dots, click add cardholder information, and it's going to bring me to this page. And all I have to do is fill in the blank, check all these things, click continue, and it'll go through and verify my card. So I'm good to start using it anywhere that will accept my card. Now, if you were adding for somebody, let's say not yourself, like you are the current outgoing officer and you're adding the new one, you'll do, again, add card holder, but you'll just choose a member and you're going to choose somebody other than yourself. Click I agree. Oh, actually, let me choose the type, virtual. Click I agree, next, submit. What's going to happen is it's going to send them an email asking them to fill in that information I just showed you. So since you're not the person who's going to be the card holder, you added it for someone else, you can't go in and add their information for them. You're going to want them to do that themselves. So just have them check their email and they'll be able to click a link and go through and fill out all of that card holder information. Once it's submitted and accepted, the status will switch from this pending to active, and that means they're good to use the card. So those are just some things you'll want to go through. Again, it just depends how your chapter functions, if you want to add it for the incoming officer or if you want to maybe wait and have them add it for themselves. Neither way is right or wrong. It's just whatever works best for your chapter. But those were the three main things I wanted to cover today, just for getting ready for these officer transitions. But I do have some tips that I'm going to show you guys that I think are also just kind of good to go over, but again, not required. So these are extra prep steps. I liked that because it rhymed, for transition. One is updating member types and groups. So that, again, would be under that member tab. You're going to go through, make sure if anybody graduated or is graduating, they're marked alum. If maybe they aren't returning to the chapter, they're no longer part of your organization, you can mark them like disassociated or whatever status it may be. New members, you'll want to make sure they're updated to initiated if they've gone through initiation, all of those things. The second thing I'm going to suggest is doing cleanup for outstanding invoices. So these are charges you put on your members' accounts. You're going to want to go through and maybe review all of those outstanding ones just to see, like, is this charge still valid? Maybe you accidentally charged someone, or maybe they were overcharged, which is why they haven't paid it, and you've talked about it, but you forgot to remove it from their account, whatever it is. You want to say, is it valid? If it's not, you'll go ahead and delete it. Or maybe it is valid, but maybe this member has been gone forever and you're thinking, like, you know what, it's just not worth it to leave this here. I want to clean things up. You can delete it and just say, you know what, it's not worth pursuing. I'm just going to remove it. The third thing I'm going to say is have old members archived. So if you have alum listed, y'all aren't able to archive them yourselves, but what you'll do is email the LegFi, info@legfi.com, and I have that email that you'll be able to write down after this slide. But you'll just email them and ask to archive those alumni members, and we can get them off the roster. That's something you're really going to want to look over, because again, if we remember the subscription, a lot of you guys are paying per member per month, and you don't want to be paying for members that are not using the software. And then the last thing is pay any outstanding headquarter invoices, or maybe you have bills that you've been putting off and you need to use your treasury card for, go ahead and pay those. The new officer for sure could go in and do all these things, but I think it's sometimes just easier to wrap up your term just because you're going to know a little bit better. Like, for example, with the invoices, what you were charging members, conversations you've had, if things need to be removed, it's just a little more clear for you to go in and clean it up. Same with paying bills. You have an idea running in your head, or maybe you have it on your computer, wherever you keep track of that, what still needs to be paid and what has been paid. So it's just good to go in and clean up those things instead of passing it off to the next person and then they kind of have to do a bit of running around just to try to figure out what has been done and what still needs to go ahead and be done. So those are things, if you want to screenshot it, you can. We do send recordings of this webinar, so you'll be able to reference it back. But if you want, I would screenshot that just as a good little to-do list for yourself as you're moving towards these officer elections. Now I'm going to move on to questions and answers. Don't be nervous, ask away. I know sometimes people hold back because they don't want to ask, but we won't announce your name or anything. We'll just go through and answer the questions for you or walk through things. Amanda, do you see any in the chat?
Yes, so there was a question on if they're cleaning up their like invoices or members' payments or invoices, not payments. How
Mhm.
do they go in and delete those invoices or delete those charges?
Okay, yeah, let me switch back to LegFi. So you should be looking at my screen with LegFi on it. I'm under this invoices tab, and you can see them listed here, the ones that are past due, current. This is just all of those outstanding invoices that haven't been paid. So if you want to get rid of them, you can either click this little three dots here and click delete, or if you want to do it in mass, I believe you can click multiple at once, click actions, and then click delete. Yeah, delete there, and it'll remove them. And then you'll also be able, it's not gonna like delete that this ever happened. So if you still need it on record, you can go to this little deleted um, tab, I guess you would call it, and it'll show all the invoices you've deleted. So it's not going to make the member responsible for paying it, but it does show like at some point this member was charged and we have taken it off the account. So you can always go back and reference it there. Were there any other questions, Amanda?
Yes, let's see. A question just came in. How does the collection process work? And what are the fees associated with that? So if you go to the
Mm-hmm.
submit to external collections,
Mm-hmm.
it will show you, I believe it shows you what the fees are.
Let's see. It may be down in this. Yes, 35% of all funds collected once submission occurs. So that would be the
Yes.
fee down there. But that's a good point. So if I didn't bring that up in the initial thing, but when you're cleaning up your invoices, let's say there is something that is outstanding, but it is worth pursuing, and you've, gone through all the processes of reaching out and trying to do payment plans and, working with these members. If it does get to the point where you have to send them to collections, there is this tab here. These first two sections right here, past due emails and phone calls, this is just done through LegFi. So if you click go, it'll have like a filled out template, and then you can just select the members you want to send it to. That would show up here, and you can click their name and then click schedule past due email. Same with the calls, it'll just send them like an automated call almost. But once you get to the point where you for sure want to send it to a collection agency, it'll be right here that submit to an external collections. Once that's done, those are sent off. You can't just like cancel it and move the debt back to LegFi. It is kind of like a one-way process. It'll send it over, but we have all of here the agreement for collections contract is down there, and you would just fill out the information here. So if you're the person who's sending them, you'll fill in all of that, and then I accept, click submit, and it'll go ahead and send those off. And then you can kind of keep up with collections information here. It has the website, the address, phone number. So if you ever needed to contact the collection agency, about members you've sent, or if members have questions about it, all that information is stored there. Was there any other questions that came through, Amanda?
Yes, there was another question about Is there an easy way to enter monthly invoices in batch as opposed to doing each month? So, and I said, yes, you can do like a
Mhm.
recurring.
Mhm.
Um, if you'll go to, if you create the new invoice and then you add the members,
Mhm.
once you add the charge,
Oh,
you have to add at least one member.
I don't know why my members aren't showing up.
Okay. But I'll just talk you through it. So once you add
Mhm.
the charge, then you can do multiple months. So if you needed to do it the whole like January through December, you could just do that. You can add each recurring month for that particular charge, um,
Mhm.
if that's how you want to do it. And then if you needed further assistance, you can contact info@legfi.com and they can
Mhm.
help you as well.
Yes. And speaking of, I'll switch back then over. Was that all of the questions, Amanda, before I switch to the contact
Yes.
screen? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so here we have the contact information. So like Amanda said, if you're going through everything and you still have questions, you refer back to this webinar, previous ones we've done. You can always email info@legfi.com. That's the same email you'll reach out to if you want to archive members. So you can use that one. There's also that in-app LegFi Help Center. So when you're logged into LegFi, up at the top of your screen, um, next to where that gear icon was, there's also like a question mark two over. Oh, here we go. My thing finally started loading again. So I'll switch back to it so I can show you. Sorry, it was like taking a minute to load before, but there's this question right here that you can click, and this takes you to the LegFi Help Center. So we're always adding articles here, and they're kind of organized by the tabs, but there's also a few extra ones. So we have, for example, videos and webinars. Every webinar we do, including this one, gets uploaded to this section, also gets uploaded to our YouTube channel so you can refer back. And then we also have extra training videos over here. So you can always go to that, this question mark right here, and it'll let you go through here and search whatever you want to find. You also can submit a request. So if you still can't find what you need and maybe you don't remember the info@legfi.com email address off the top of your head, you can click submit a request and just be sure to fill out all of these drop downs as accurately as possible. So just based on what you need, that way it goes and submits the request to the correct team and you can get an answer as quickly as possible. So there is a way to do that there as well. Let me see now that I have this pulled up and that it's loading, I can try to show um, that reoccurring charge. So if we do add a charge, when you add them, it would be right here. So you can see where it says one-time charge. If it's going to be like the same thing every single month, you can do reoccurring charge, and then it'll let you click the day that it starts and then the day that will be the last time they get that, and you can do it that way. So that's where that would be. But switching back again just to that contact page, I'll let you screenshot that. So that was the LegFi section. If people are having problems logging to their account, we have this login support at omegafi.com email, and same with the phone number. There's no phone support for just general LegFi questions, but if people are locked out of their accounts or having any issues, they can call that number and there's a login specific team that'll walk them through it and get them in their account in real time. So if that is all the questions, I will leave this screen up. I know it was kind of a quick one today, but hopefully um, that was helpful and y'all can start using that information. And then just be on the lookout. We'll be sending um, a recording of this and some other emails leading up to officer transitions, just giving you guys more steps. But thank you for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.